we're going to take a look in this video at adding and subtracting decimals. So copy these 3 questions down, pause the video, and then once you've worked out the answer to the 3 questions, resume the video and see how you did. So in this first practice problem, we have 4.86 plus 2.01. And so what we want to do here is we just want to stack the decimals, 4.86 and 2.01. And our operation is add, so that operation is going to go down here, just to remind us. And as long as they're stacked vertically so that the decimal points and all the columns match up, then we can just simply add vertically down. So 6 and 1 is 7, 8 and 0 is 8. We put our decimal point in, and 4 and 2 is 6. So 4.86 plus 2.01 gives us 6.87. In the second example, we have 12.5 minus 6.72. So again, we want to stack up the numbers, and we have 12.5 and then 6.72. Now notice we've got something missing there. So we're going to have to add a placeholder. And if you ever have the number of columns not matching up, you can add placeholders just so you don't get confused. And I added one here too in front of the 6 because I have a 2-digit number and a 1-digit number. The one in front, the 0 in front of the 6 is not as important as the 0 above the 2. And our operation here is subtraction. So now we notice that we can't take 2 away from 0, and here in the 10th column right here, we can't take 7 away from 5 either, and nor in the ones column can we take 6 away from 2. So we're going to have to borrow all the way from the end. So I borrow 1 from the tens column, and that makes the 12, and I put it with a 2 to make 12. But I'm going to have to borrow now to the 10th column, so this is going to go from 12 to 11, and the 1 is going to carry over into the tens column. The tens column is now going to be 15, but I've got to borrow 1 from that column, and so I'll make it a 14 and carry the 1 finally to my last column. And now I can go ahead and do my subtraction. 10 minus 2 is 8, and 14 minus 7 is 7. And then 11 minus 6 is 5. So 12.5 minus 6.72 is 5.78. And again, the thing you have to be careful of here is the borrowing and adding these placeholders. And again, you can see that this one out front wasn't as important as the 0 here at the end, just to keep everything in line. And so in our last example here, 2.59 minus 3.96, again, we're going to stack our numbers, 2.59 minus 3.96. And 2.59 minus 3.96 is a little bit tricky, because if you notice, this number is larger than the first number. Because it's larger than the first number, writing it like this is probably not going to make a whole lot of sense. So therefore, we can switch this. We know that our end number is going to be negative because this number is larger than that number. And so what we can do is we can find the difference between the numbers 3.96 and 2.59, and if we find the difference between those two numbers by subtracting, and then we're just going to make our final answer negative. So that's a little trick that you can use if you're subtracting and the larger number is the negative one. And so we notice here we can't subtract 9 from 6, so we borrow from the 9, make it an 8, and carry the 1 over. And now let's just carry on our subtraction. 16 minus 9 is 7. 8 minus 5 is 3, and 3 minus 2 is 1. And we know that our final answer will be negative, so I've already put that down here, and we will get negative 1.37. So that's a little trick that you can use when you have to subtract. When you have to subtract numbers when the number you're subtracting is larger than the one that you start with. So I hope that gives you some good practice with adding and subtracting decimals.